Well, it's another day in October, and your Tampa Bay Rays are still not playing baseball.
So they're eliminated. So that actually happened. Okay. Let's talk about your frustrations along with ours starting right now.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, my name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano.
And we're the host of the Locked On Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for making us your very first listen every day. Be sure to check out and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Locked On Rays and all the other podcasting platforms. We are also on X and Instagram at Locked On Rays, and email us anytime with your mailbag questions, comments, concerns, hot takes, lockedonrays@gmail.com. Well, Ulises, another 24 hours has passed since the Rays were eliminated by the Texas Rangers in the best of three wild card in the American League. Any closing final thoughts from before we get to the listener takes and comments, final thoughts, evaluation on the disastrous game 1 and game 2 against Texas?
You know, they're coming in spurts. And again, like we said, right now it's just a venting session. No real in-depth look. But I went through again. You know, I'm on a Taylor Walls thing here, so bear with me.
Question: Are you having nightmares in the middle of the night of Taylor Walls and Kevin Cash and the Rays offense in general? You wake up, oh my! They've hit Taylor Walls batting third. What is going on?
Imagine that. Look, what is there a difference, Kevin, in an elimination game when you're losing 4-0 to 10-0? Does it matter?
I would say so. Yeah.
4 to 7-0. Does that matter?
4-0 versus 7-0.
Yeah.
I mean, I would think every run makes a difference and makes it that much more difficult to come back. And, every run that is scored against you deflates you even further as you're trying to win a game in the playoffs.
Agreed. So I feel like when you are staring at a 4-0 right now, your problem in the fourth inning, the fifth inning, is not let's have tight defense. No, it's let's score some runs because they already have put up a 4 spot up there. That's our priority right now. Taylor Walls had one more at bat and grounded into a double play after Curtis Mead gets on base. Manny Margot lines out. I feel like there were the whole we need a tight defense. We need our defensive stalwart in Taylor Walls there. It doesn't make sense when you're down 4-0. You're down 4. If you're down 4-0 to 7-0, in that case, like an L is an L.
Right.
It doesn't matter if you put Junior Caminero there and he makes a couple mistakes. Like, you were already losing 4-0 to 7-0. A loss is a loss. But what you need to do is get some energy in that dugout. From what I've heard, people that were sitting by the first base dugout, it didn't seem like it was that lively. And of course, like, how can it be lively when you're down 4-0 and your best starter was on the mound?
Right.
Makes sense. But just little things that, again, they come in spurts. The Taylor Walls thing is just it's basically going to give me PTSD now. So that's great. But yeah, I was just wondering that, like, make changes quicker. You don't need a defensive guy when you're already down 4 or 5 runs. It doesn't make sense.
Especially in an elimination game like that. Sometimes you have to pull the trigger and put a little shock to the system as well. And if we've learned anything, the Rays need to find a way, somehow, some way, to score runs in the playoffs, because that has eluded them the last couple of seasons. So, which tied into that, Fangraphs did a post-mortem on the managerial decisions. They gave report cards for the managerial moves of the respective clubs, the eliminated clubs in the playoffs. Kevin Cash, for his lineup construction and batting construction, They gave him, and don't fall out of your chair here, an A-. They pointed to the all-righty or switch hitting lineup put out against Jordan Montgomery and basically blamed the lack of on the bench options for why he was given that mark. Basically, that he didn't have many levers to pull. It's not like he had Brandon Lau on the bench or Wander Franco on the bench. Not that he would be on the bench, but
Understood. And we all wish we had Brandon Lau. We all wish we had Luke Rayleigh, and we all wish we had he who must not be named. But it's look, man. The righty already was fantastic, but there were two big blemishes there: Taylor Walls and Josh Lowe.
Yeah. And that's a point where, and actually it does mention it in the write-up or the article from Fangraphs, that at some point I know that the Rays are platoon obsessed and it's worked for them year in and year out. But at some point you got to say, I don't care if a guy's a righty, a lefty, a switch hitter. If he's hitting anything and everything and he's on fire as of late and he's put up a 290 batting average in a 20-30 season, I don't care if it's a lefty on the mound or whatever. Moreover, you could make an argument, and some have made this argument, that it might be good to throw a little spice into the recipe by sticking a lefty or an opposite-handed batter from doing that all-righty or all-lefty matchup, because it can allow the pitcher to get into a groove. Because it is a different look when you're facing a righty versus a lefty.
And guess what happened? Guess what happened? Exactly what you're talking about, getting in a groove. Jordan Montgomery had the outside corner dialed in.
Yeah.
Dialed in. And it was like a ball and a half outside, but he was getting those strikes. If you have a Josh Lowe in the middle of that sandwich of all righties, maybe that pitch starts to look a little bit different to the umpire too. It's just like, it's like
the Rays would platoon Barry Bonds if they had the choice.
Basically, like I just, you got me started. I don't. And by the way, I hate how everything is now black and white in Twitter. Now they're like, everybody's asking for Kevin Cash's head and the front office's head. It's like, no, we're not.
Yeah,
no, we're not.
I mean, there are people
on
social media that, hey, Kevin Cash needs to be fired. The front office needs to be fired, which I don't think those are real people. Those are bots. Those are people that are trying to foment anger and radicalism. It's just weirdos, basically. Like,
yes,
you don't have a 9-to-5 job. Like, how are you having the time to put something out so ridiculous?
My question is, how are they typing with Cheeto dust on their fingers? That's number one. No, at least in this podcast, what we're saying, you can always criticize if you have good arguments, which we try our best to do with numbers and with rational thought. But no, nobody's asking for Kevin Cash's head. Like, the guy is a great manager. I said it last episode. He's a great regular season manager, if not one of the best ever.
Mm-hmm.
But the multi events decisions here that took place in the playoffs here. I mean, it's just it's a head scratcher, man.
He's great over at least what we've learned, and maybe some people will disagree, but over the course of a marathon, fantastic
in
terms of managing the clubhouse and putting guys in position to succeed and doing what works. But when you get into that 100-meter sprint in the playoffs, you got to think a little bit differently, and maybe that's where the Rays are known for thinking differently, and they're not thinking differently or using the gut feel, the natural feel of, I have all this baseball wisdom and experience under my belt. Let me just try something. Because we're losing. So
you're a runner. You're a runner, Kevin. Or you used to run competitively when you were growing up. That's exactly what you need to do. If you're in a 100-meter sprint, it's completely different than if you're running a 3-mile, a 900-meter race. It's a whole different
muscles. You feel different too after going on an all-out sprint versus a 10K or a 5K.
Things happen quicker. You have to be on your toes. Again, the whole thing about, I know Eflin was your guy, but if he doesn't have it in one inning, he just drops 4, time to move it. Yeah. You didn't use Stevenson. You didn't use Fairbanks. Fairbanks out here already putting pictures of him doing Lego puzzles. You didn't use Pete Fairbanks. He's already doing Star Wars Lego puzzles, man. Why didn't you use
Fairbanks in the dugout?
God,
They should put that in the dugout. That should be like one of their things after somebody hits a home run or
maybe, yeah.
strikes out the side. Every team has their little showmanship thing going on. By the way, speaking of that, before we take a break and then move on to some listener reaction. So Fangraphs graded the batting lineup construction for the Rays and Kevin Cash. Pitching, they gave Kevin Cash and company a C+. And part of the reasoning was, like you said, kind of keeping the string too long on Zack Eflin. And then nowhere to be found was Pete Fairbanks and Bob Stevenson. They actually did agree with the move of putting Chris Davinsky in for Tyler Glasnow because he's a changeup specialist and has the reverse splits working for him.
Sure. Let's clap for Davinsky.
Davinsky's our savior. You didn't know that?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. This season on the balance. Who do you have from the bullpen coming in? Davinsky's changing.
Watch. Next year, Chris Davinsky is going to be a closer somewhere.
Yeah. Get that bag.
All right. We have more to discuss, but first we have to tell you this. Did you know that Ibotta gives you cash back on hundreds of grocery items, from produce to personal care to pantry goods, so you can make sure you're beating inflation no matter what you're purchasing? Either link your loyalty account or upload your receipt after you shop and get your cash back. It's that easy. The average Ibotta user earns $100 per year. That could cover the cost of an entire shopping trip, or you could use your cash back to buy that flight you've been eyeing, that game you're dying to go to, or the fancy dinner you've been craving. Other apps give you points that don't really amount to much, but with Ibotta, you get real cash back that you can cash out to your bank account, PayPal, or gift cards. And you can earn cash back on hundreds of online brands and retailers when you start with Ibotta. That includes Lowe's, Macy's, Sephora, Best Buy, and more. I think people have heard of those. So here's what you need to do, okay? Download the Ibotta app now and use code MLB to start earning real cash back. Just go to the App Store or Google Play Store and download the free Ibotta app and use code MLB. That's IBOTTA. I'll spell it one more time for you. IBOTTA in the Google Play or App Store and use code MLB. Okay, Ulysses, we got some listener reaction and takes from the playoff series, the brief playoff series that was. It's crazy that you play 6 months and 162 games just to see everything fall apart in the span of 36 to 48 hours, but I'll digress from that. We put out on X, formerly known as Twitter, what is one word to describe the Rays season, and I have the word cloud here, but before we get to that, figured you might want to hop on to some of the YouTube comments that we received over the past day or so.
Yeah, Joel Webster says, thank you, Kevin and Ulysses, for everything you've done this season. It was an unfortunate end, but really excited to see what you both have in store this off season. Also, Kevin, really cool to hear you are or were a Colts fan. He is. I'm also a Colts and Rays fan out of Maryland.
Love it. Love it. Yeah. Us Colts fans need to stick together, and they're going to be a force with Anthony Richardson at the helm at quarterback.
I told that to Kevin. He's stealing that from me. Everybody knows it. Theoretical Robot says, sad times, but great memories. Love what you all do. Beth says, I feel your pain. Analytics are great for 162, but when it comes to the postseason, you have to manage the game. Legos.
With that, this will probably never happen, but I think it would be a cool, fun idea. Maybe test it out in spring training or something of that ilk. Mm-hmm. Have a fan manage an inning or a couple innings, or manage an entire game. That would be fun. You could auction it off, give the money to the charity of your choice, get the TV crew involved. I'm just saying, if you want something to really, hey, we can all condemn from the stump, but let's see how we can govern from it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Oh, I love
Give
it.
people an opportunity.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what? Auction the money to charity. I love it. Maybe like do it for season ticket holders so that they know that they're like, they're baseball fans. They know
Yeah,
the team, so they don't put like, Manny Margot at first base. Isn't that cute? Like, no,
right.
like, you keep it semblance. That's nice. I like that, man. Um, I love Legos 2000s says as much of a disaster this postseason was, at least the Rays had a great successful season despite the injuries. I have to admit, Jose Siri was brought back too early. I wish they had given him more time to get himself together. I'll be curious to see which player stays and goes during the offseason. Also,
Oh yeah.
maybe investigate what's causing these injuries. I hope it doesn't become a new norm next season. Boy.
Well, I mean, I don't know if he's talking about position player injuries, pitching injuries, a little bit of everything. I mean, some things are kind of out of your control. You get hit by a pitch or something like that. But I mean, the pitching injuries, it is really skyrocketed for the Rays. But that's every team in baseball. I mean, look at the Rangers, who some of the big names that they're without. It's just the nature of the
Yeah.
game. Guys are throwing as hard as they can. They're throwing wicked breaking balls, and they've been doing it since they were 9, 10 years old and all the way through travel ball. At some point, uh, something that you're doing that's not really natural to the body is going to catch up to you. That's
Yeah.
why, Shane McClanahan didn't have his first Tommy John surgery in a Rays uniform. It was when he was in a USF uniform.
Crazy. Crazy
So,
to think about. Yeah, no, 100%. And besides, like, I think, yeah, if something needs to be studied, even though I do like everything that you have said, it would be the pitching injuries. I mean, Brendan Lau fouling a pitch off. I mean, okay, wear a bigger shin guard.
right,
Luke Raley, maybe have people that are not players lay off shagging balls next to players. Like maybe
right.
give the MLB player a little bit of space. We don't know what happened there.
Good point.
We don't know the
Yeah,
name of that person either, of who ran into Luke Raley, because that person needs to be sat down and talked to.
I agree. I agree. By the
And the
way,
last
too, with
one,
all that, something we can't really control or you can't do anything about. Sometimes there are really, really freak injuries with baseball players, like straining your neck or your back or your shoulder, ticking on or removing a jersey.
yeah,
There's or having a video game controller falling on your foot and breaking your toe. Like things happen. There's
having,
some freak incidents as well. Guys tripping in the shower. There's
yeah,
you're gonna hear or see or witness that once a year, basically.
breaking your toes in the shower. Yeah, we all know about that. Okay, let's see. Cody Robbins says, I agree with all that Ulises had to say about Walls, and unfortunately, I think it's true that he may be in a Rays uniform for much longer than we'd like you said, Kevin.
Yeah.
Last year, Rays fans were getting excited about him, but I think he's going to be a Reed Brignac. In fact, Walls claims to fame is his defense, but I just checked on Fangraphs, and he ranks 69th among players that played shortstop this year with a negative .01 defense. Brujan is only a few spots back. Oslevis Basabe even ranks better in most categories than Taylor Walls among shortstops. I kind of feel like we need Walls because of his defense is all smoke and mirrors, and we're putting too much weight on his ability to play lockdown D.
Yeah, I'd have to investigate those numbers a little bit, and I think the sample size has something to do with it. You look at one website, it says a guy is a so-so or below average defender. Another website, it says he's the best defender of all time. So you really have to take it all under consideration. And obviously, clearly, the Rays have some proprietary methods as well that can determine
Bingo.
guys. And maybe they value certain aspects of what a guy can do defensively versus what the general public might value.
Hey, look,
Maybe they're looking more so at arm accuracy than being able to make the 5-star catch or the diving stop.
I will tell you this. You can look as much as you want of Fangraph, Baseball Savant, and Baseball Reference, all of these things. They have their own proprietary data, and they're going to listen to that more. So we can dive into as much data that we have for the public. They have their own that we don't have access to, and that's what they're going to be paying most attention to.
Yeah, and there's the other factor of how is a guy looking in workouts? How does he prepare? How does he get along with the other players? How comfortable are the pitchers when a certain guy versus another guy is behind them and working defensively. And of course, it's not just Taylor Walls at shortstop, but if you need to throw him at second base or third, there's that option too. So
I don't have any more YouTube comments. It's up to you to go to X, but I will just post this question. I would like to see, and I'm gonna do it right now. I'd like to see how many games Taylor Walls was at short and Curtis Mead was at second before you did that double play duo in the playoff in back-to-back games. Because if I were a betting man, I don't think that happened twice.
Yep, I would agree with you. I don't think that was a frequent thing, so we'd have to look that up and check that out. Now, as far as what is one word to describe the Rays season that was, listeners said, disappointing, bipolar, anticlimactic, crash, roller coaster, wasted, shocking, reality, unfortunate, unlucky, injuries, knowledgeable, hell, and that's about what we've got.
Knowledgeable? Why knowledgeable?
The individual went on to say knowledgeable in the sense of we need and have to find out what is the reasoning behind all these injuries and some of the decision making as well on the field in the playoffs. So there was more context to that, I should say.
Okay, yeah. Fair enough.
But yeah, more or less the comments were steered toward unfortunate, bad. There was a word you used the other day that can't think of it, but it kind of summed it up pretty well how the season went, unfortunately.
Yeah, all of them negative because when you only score one run in the last two games of your wild card, then that's
I found the word. It was letdown. That's what you used yesterday, and I think that is very fitting for sure. Yeah. All right, changing gears here. We've got baseball trivia, Name That War, it being a Friday, and maybe next week we'll do this with Evan Klosky. I'm sure he'll have some postseason thoughts as well. Before we do that, we have to tell you this. You need to snap into action this NFL season with FanDuel because they are America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place just a $5 bet. Again, that's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, well, there is no better time to get in on the action than right now, literally right now. The app is super easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and beyond. So here's what you need to do. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn, LOCKEDON, to kick off the NFL season. Again, FanDuel.com/LockedOn to kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, they are an official partner of the National Football League. All right, getting to baseball trivia. Got to get our background music going. This one is called Night Driving. I think we have it playing now. Yeah, if you like it or dislike it, hit it up in the YouTube comments. We can always switch it around. We've got 8 to 10 different background musical choices that we can cruise through. But I kind of like the. Again, I would drive in my car at night, slap this on, and just relax. If you're thinking about Taylor Walls getting the start at short, and playing more than half the game, batting lead off or second or third or something, slap this on to calm you down, relax you, put you in a better headspace, a better mood. So
I actually, maybe you're thinking about Taylor Walls and Curtis Mead, and did they ever play second and short together? And you heard me say not happened twice. Well, it actually just happened twice. Once it happened on September 26th against the Red Sox, and then the second time it happened against the Toronto Blue Jays against Ryu, Mead and Walls. So it happened twice, and they said, you know what? Yeah, let's do that.
There we go. All right. Okay, baseball trivia, Name That War. Ulises, what do you have in the realm of baseball trivia?
Because I've been let down over the last 48 hours, I wanted to pick up our mood. And remember that we actually have seen the Rays win in the playoffs before. So I'm going back to the last time the Tampa Bay Rays won a playoff game, and that was in 2021, game 1 of the ALDS. Kevin, my question to you is, can you name the starting lineup of the last time the Rays won a playoff game?
And what year was that?
2021, game 1, ALDS, the Boston Red Sox.
Name the entire starting lineup 1 through 9.
Correct.
But it doesn't have to be in that order.
It does not have to be in that order. I am not going to be that mean.
You're just looking for the 9 names.
Correct.
Okay, Manny Margot.
Correct. Batting 7th in right field.
Brandon Lau.
Correct. Batting 3rd, second base.
Randy Arozarena.
Correct. Batting 1st, left field.
Yandy Diaz.
Correct. Batting 5th, third base.
Your favorite catcher of all time, Mike Zunino.
I thought that was Jose Molina. Correct. Batting 8th.
Wander Franco.
Correct. Batting 2nd, shortstop. Oh, you're so close.
So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of the 9. Who am I missing? Got to be a first baseman. I'll say G-Man Choi.
I would say strike 1.
Okay. No Choi boy.
Mm-mm.
Your favorite player of all time? Hunter Renfroe.
Strike 2.
No. Wow. People are probably like, somebody's so key.
That year he was
Nelson
a Red Sox
Cruz.
legend. Huh?
Nelson Cruz.
Nelson Cruz is correct. Batting 4th at DH.
Kevin Kiermaier.
Indiana Bump, batting 9th in center field. I mean, I'm really liking night driving here.
I do. Yeah, I like it as well. Hopefully the listeners dig it too. Okay, so I have 8 of the 9.
Yeah.
And I did not write down the positions attributed to these guys. We got Randy in left, Kiermaier in center, Margot in right,
Mm-hmm.
Yandy at, he's playing 3rd, right?
Yandy at 3rd.
Yandy at 3rd, Zunino catching, Lau 2nd, Bronco short, Kiermaier center, Cruz DH. So I'm missing the first baseman.
This is correct.
Who is the first baseman 2021? If it's not G-Man Choi, it's got to be a righty, correct?
Correct.
Who was the right-handed first baseman in 2021?
I know this is one of those names that you throw it out in Rays cocktail parties and everybody's like, oh, good one. Oh, you are a Rays connoisseur.
Okay. Well, it's not Jose Martinez.
It's not. That would be another name like that. This man that you're missing has a huge moment in Rays postseason history. In fact, I would say he would have become a mainstream Rays name had they won that second game where he was, for 12 minutes, a hero.
I have no idea. I'm just going to throw out a name. My memory is just shot right now. This is so wrong. Jordan Luplow.
Correct. Let's go.
Wow. Okay.
Let's go. My boy Kevin. My boy Kevin. Dude, you just Steph Curry'd that answer from the halfway court. Oh, I love it. Good for you.
Threw it from 42 and drained it. I do that in real life too. Wow.
That's right.
That might be my best trivia performance ever.
That was pretty good. Great
I
job.
appreciate that. Great question.
Yeah.
All right, getting to baseball trivia. It is not a Rays player, but it is a guy who won a World Series MVP. So I figured maybe I'll just go through the list of World Series MVPs over the years and pick out a random name, and that's what I did. And this guy played third base and first base. And, well, I'll leave it up to you to answer the career WAR question. But this could also be a cocktail party type. Can you name a World Series MVP? Or can you name this guy as a World Series MVP and be like, wow, good answer. David Freese.
Oh, that's a good one. I did hear that he was invited to be part of the Cardinals Hall of Fame this year, and he politely declined. He said,
do that? That's odd.
Yeah, he was like, I wouldn't feel comfortable joining those guys like that. They did way more than I did. So given that that's how he feels about his career, he had a massive moment. He might be like a Dan Johnson type guy. Had a very big moment. But his career might have not been the best. So let's go quickly with 8 years in the league. Maybe one season he went off and he was like a 4 WAR player. And then everything else was like a 1. So I'm going to go with 11 WAR for David Freese.
Good guess. David Freese played 11 years in the bigs, most known for his time with the Cardinals, but also played in a Pittsburgh, Dodgers, and Angels uniform. He was a one-time All-Star, 2011 World Series champion, and 2011 World Series MVP. 113 career homers, 277 career batting average, career OPS of 775. OPS plus for his career of 112. He also hit 197 doubles in his career, over 1,000 hits, and nearly 500 runs. His career WAR is a little bit above that, 18.7.
Okay.
But again, you have a 18-19 career WAR to your name. You play over a decade in the bigs. That is
a great career.
Very few players can say about themselves.
That's a fantastic. I think you've got some demons, David Freese. I think you have a great career, and you should have accepted that Cardinals Hall of Fame call.
I mean, you're not Albert Pujols, you're not Yadier Molina, you're not Adam Wainwright or somebody
Stan Musial.
Yeah, Stan Musial, Scott Rowland, whatever. But you did some things for sure.
And besides, the fandom just appreciates when you have a big moment, when you need to have a big moment. If you have a big moment in July, cool, okay, cocktail party. If you have a big moment in the postseason when we need you to have a big moment, you're in our hearts.
Sometimes you get statues of you, i.e. Aki Iwamura. Is Aki Iwamura a Rays legend? Probably not, but he had a legendary moment in the postseason.
Dan Johnson should get a statue just because of that moment.
I agree. Yeah. Ben Zobrist should get a statue for what he did in a Cubs uniform. Base hit down the line the other way.
Yes, 100%.
So, all right. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe, and we will talk to you next week.